Hello everyone, welcome back to Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. I'm Kishore and today I'll be solving Sudoku taken from the recently concluded Sudoku Mahabharat round, which was odd, even, and hybrids. This round was authored by Arun Iyer and Madhav Sankaranarayanan, and it had some really high quality Sudokus. The set was very tough to complete, but the Sudokus were of exceptional quality. The contest is over, but the PDF can be freely downloaded. So please do give it a check. I will add the link in the description of the video. And this particular Sudoku was the one I could not complete in the contest. I stared at it for quite a while, but I could not see the start to the Sudoku, and I had to forego it. So I thought of making a video on this. I completed it after the contest, and I realized that the break-in is really narrow to the Sudoku. So hope you guys enjoy watching this video. So I'll go to the rules now. The rules are: place a digit from 1 to 9 in each empty cell in the grid so that each digit appears exactly once in each row, column, and box. Standard classic rules apply. Other than that, you can see some x between two cells. In those cells, the sum of the digits will be equal to 10, and you can see that there are v between some cells, and between those two cells the digits will add up to 5. And the important thing to note here is that not all possible x and 5 are marked. So for instance, you could very well have, let's say, just a second. Let me change to Sudoku normal and Sudoku center mode. Yes. So for example, you could have a 4 here and a 6 here. There is no x in between, so this is valid. And so for that reason, I think this Sudoku would be better off by the name XV pair, no 3 in a row, because pair is normally used when the converse rule is not applicable. But anyway, so you can have digits which sum to 10 or 5 in adjacent cells. And finally, the last part of the rule is no 3 successive cells, either vertically or horizontally, can have digits of the same parity. So for instance, this is not a valid arrangement. That's because you have 2 even digits continuously. And let's say you also cannot have the same arrangement this way. The same is applicable for odd digits as well. So these are the rules, and with that we'll start the Sudoku. Okay, so the start to the Sudoku is by looking at row 2. And you can see that there are 3 x in that row, right? And 3 more cells. Now we know that in any row, column, or box of Sudoku, the digits will always add up to 45. The sum of the digits from 1 to 9. So now, can these 2 digits add up to 10? Of course, from these 3 digits, we must have 2 cells which add up to 10. The other must be a 5, because as you can see, 5 can never be in any of these cells, right? Because that would require another 5. So 5 is either here, here, or here. But 5 is easily eliminated from this cell. So it goes either here or here. So if you have the 5 here, then which means that as per the total of each row, these 2 cells must sum up to 10. But we already have an x between these 2 cells, which means, let's say if you have a 2 here, this must be 8. But then you can't have a 10 from these 2 cells as well. So which is clearly proving to us that 5 cannot be here. So 5 goes here, and these 2 cells must sum up to 10. So I could get the starting digit here, but then I got stuck. I had no idea how to continue the puzzle, and the next digit is what is really difficult to get. So you might want to pause the video here And if you find that break in here, the Sudoku becomes considerably easier to complete. So I will pause myself for 2 seconds. Okay, so the break-in lies in column 2. And the idea is, what does this cell contain? Not in terms of digits, because it can contain 8 possible digits as of now, but in terms of the parity. Can this be even or odd? Let's see what happens if this is an even digit. So I'm going to use some coloring here. Right? So let's use green for odd and blue for even, because those are the first 2 colors I can see here after the black. So if this is an I said green for odd and blue for even. So if this is even, now we know that an X contains either both odd or both even. This is one important realization that you need to have in this Sudoku, which I didn't have at the time of starting the contest, because an X adds up to 10, of course, and 10 can be reached only from 2 even digits or 2 odd digits. If you have 1 odd and 1 even, the sum would be an odd digit. So which means either both of these are odd or both of these are even. Now if you have an odd digit here, right, if you have an even digit here, then both of these must be odd, right? Because you can't have even. That would make 3 successive evens in the column. But can you have 2 sets of odds in this column? You already have a 3 here. Now the pairs which sum to 10 are 1 and 9 and 3 and 7. So since you have a 3 here, one of the pairs will be a 1 and 9 and the other you can't satisfy. So this proves to us that this cell cannot contain even, it has to be an odd. And the moment you get this as odd, now this, both of these x's cannot take odds, because that would give 3 odds successively. So both of them would be even. Beautiful, right? So this start I completely missed. And we have got 4 evens in the column. So rest of the cells would be odd in that column. And because this is odd, this is also odd. Now you have 2 cells odd, so this is even, which means this is even and this is even. And you can't have both odd here, because this is odd already. Let me put that a green. So both of these would be even, and this is odd, this is odd, and so this would be odd. And for a 5, you need 1 odd and 1 even. So this would be even. And for X, this would be even again. This is odd because you have 2 evens. Now look at this X. This cannot be both green, so both would have to be blue. And so this becomes green for the 5. And now look at this box carefully. You can't have the 4th even either at this cell or this cell. Notice that this box already contains 3 even digits. And if you have the 4th even either here or here, then both of these cells would be odd, and that violates the rule. So clearly the 4th even is either in this cell or this cell. And of course we know that in any row, column or box, there are exactly 4 even digits and 5 odd digits. So both of these would be odd. And now you can't have another odd here. So that is even, which means this is even. So, and you have 2 evens here, so this is odd. And again, both of these are either odd or even, so they must be even. Now box 2 can be filled. This would have to be the 5th odd digit. And this cannot be even because these 3 will be even. So that is odd. And which means this is even and this is odd. So if you use coloring here and solve online perhaps, The solve might have been a little faster. So this is odd. I'm sorry, this is even. Now look at this X. Both of them are even because you have an odd here. And we got the 4 evens in that row. So all these are odds. And we have 4 evens in column 5. So both of these is odd. And now we know the parity of these two cells and these two cells, right? They both must be even. And which means this is odd for the 5 because 5 is 1 odd and 1 even. And now this cell is even. So this cell is odd and this cell is odd. I'm pretty much sure that the author would have started creating the Sudoku this way, getting the parity of all the digits and then continuing. So in box 4 there are 2 remaining cells which both must be odd, and this would be even because this is odd and this is odd, so this is even. And now we know the parity of this cell, that is odd. And column 3 you have 4 blue cells, so rest must be odd. And look at row 1, we need a 4th even, so the 4th even goes here. And for box 1 we need another even, that's an even. And row 8 has 4 evens, so both of these would be odd. And look at these cells, you would have guessed by now they both must be even, they can't be odd. And we have 4 evens for the column, so this must be odd. And now this is even. And we have 5 odds for the row, so this is even. And 4 evens for the box, so this would be odd and this would be even. So this is odd. So can we get all the colors? Okay, this is even because you have 2 odds here, so this is even, and which means the rest of the cells in row 4 must be odd. And we know the parity of this cell now in box 5, so this is odd. And we have got 4 evens in row 6, so rest must be odd. And 4 evens are there in column 7, so that would be green odd cell, and this has to be even cell, that is blue. So we have got the parity of all the cells in the grid, and now we can proceed to the second step, which is to start putting digits. Fascinating Sudoku, right? So let me start where the break-in could be. And remember that this is not a Sudoku where you can use converse. So not all possible pairs are marked. Let's start with this 5. So this is even, so which means that this has to be a 2 or a 4, which means this would be 3 or 1. But we know that this cannot be 3. This is 1 and that's a 4. And now this is even, can only be 2, which means this would be a 6-8 pair. This would be 4 or 2 and this would be 4 or 2. And we can fill in these cells. So that's 8 and that would be 3. Now the 1 in box 4 goes here because it can't be here. And now we know what is this. This must be 4, 6. Okay, so this is 4, 6 or 8. It cannot be a 2. So which means this would be a 6, 4 or 2. And look at column 1. Where does the 3 go? 3 would have to be in an odd cell. So 3 goes here, which means this would be 7. And now we know the remaining odds must be 1 and 9. This cannot be a 9 because it's part of a 5. So that's a 1, that's a 4, that's a 9, and that's a 9. And these two are evens which add up to 10. There is only one possibility. This is even, so that's a 6. And the remaining digits are 3, 7 for the box. This would be 2 or 8. And this becomes a 4 and a 6. This is also 4 and 6 because of this. And 2 and 8 you have here, so this would be 2 or 8, which means this would be 2 or 8. But you can't have 8 here, so that is 2, that is 8, that is 2, that is 8, and that is 2. You have 6, 8, so this must be a 2 or 4. We have a 2, 4 pair, so that's 6, a 4, 6. This 4 resolves this. That's a 2, that's a 4, and that gives me a 6, an 8 here, a 2 here. And now look where the 6 goes. It has to be here. This becomes a 4, 8 pair, which means this must be 6 or 2. And you can't have a 6, so that's a 2, and that's an 8, and that's a 4. A very pretty solve. If you get the start, it's really nice. This becomes a 4, 6. And you can't have a 6 as part of a 5. That's a 4, that's 1, that's 6, that's 4, that's 6. And you have 6 here, so that's 4, which means this would be 2, 8. And because of this 2, this is 8, and this is 2. And now I need 2, 6 here, so that's 6 and that's 2. And these two cells add up to 10. Remember, there are only 2 pairs of odd digits which can add up to 10. You can't have a 5, so it's 1 and 9 or 3 and 7. 1 and 9 is ruled out, so this becomes a 3, 7, and which means we need 5, 9 here. And 3, 4, 6, 7, 2 and 8. So 1 and 1 is here, so this would be 1. That would be 5, 9 for the row. This has to be a 7. And look at this 5. You get a 9 here and a 5 here. So we can fill in the evens now, I guess. This would be 8 for the row. This would be 4, so this would be 6. All the evens except this has been filled. Now we need 3, 9 for row 7. So this is 7 or 1. This is 5, 7. And this would be 1 or 5 for the box. You can't have a 9 here because of this, so this is 1 and 5. Okay, you can place the 8 here, which means this would be 3, 5, 7. And 9 in column 7 must go in one of these two cells. Okay, look where the 1 goes in column 8, goes here. And which means this is not 1, so 1 goes here. This becomes 5. This becomes a 9. This becomes a 1. And we can fill in these digits. They must be 5, 7, 9. You can't have 7 here. 5, 9. Okay, let's focus on row 1. So we need 3, 5, 7. Okay, I have a 1 here, so that's not 1. That's a 7, that's a 3, that's a 9. And 3 and 7 are eliminated here, so that is 5. That's not 5. So this would be 2, 4, 5, 8, 6, and 9, and 3 and 7. So that's a 1, which means this is 3 and 7. And 1 in column 4 has to go here. And look at column 6, only one digit 9 goes here, and that pushes the 9 here. So which means this has to be 3 or 7 for this column, but 3 is here. That's 7, that's 3, 7, 3, 7, 5, 7, awesome. 1, 2, 8, 4, 6, 7, 9. So 3 and 5, that's 5, that's 3, and we can quickly race through the digits now. This would be a 3, 5 pair, that is a 5, that is a 3, that gives me a 3 and a 7, and a 9 and a 5. And with that, we have completed this excellent Sudoku created by Arun Iyer. Although I'm a little disappointed that could not see the start earlier, but this was a really good Sudoku, and it was important to understand that an X will have either both odd or both even, and a 5 will have one odd and one even. Of course, if you look at it, you will immediately realize it, but while solving the Sudoku, you might tend to miss this fact, and the Sudoku becomes very hard. So thanks for watching. Please let us know your thoughts in comments, and do remember to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you soon with the video. Bye-bye.